you guys are turning in your first paper at the next class. And there's, like I said, there's a lot involved to turning in papers in any English class. So this first paper, I just want you to know, I know you all did what I called a diagnostic in-class writing sample the other day. I want you to know this paper that you're going to turn in on Tuesday is also kind of a diagnostic. I'm using this assignment more to walk us through this process. It's not that I'm not going to grade you on what you do, but don't worry, you know, you don't need to turn in a literary masterpiece this time. Mostly I want you to go through the review process, make your revisions, and come to class on Tuesday with the required material that you need. So remember, remember the read the directions rule in this class. When you get your paper back from your person today, you will then take it, and this is where you have to read. You have your worksheet. This is where you have to read the directions on the last page of the worksheet, okay? So you're going to, we hope that you have done all this stuff. You've checked to make sure that you have some descriptive sentences like we talked about, some like you talked about and read in your book, some kind of descriptive language, sight, smell, taste, that kind of thing. Maybe some type of figurative language. On the peer review, I'm going to ask to see if you have at least X number of those, 2 or 3 or something. Okay? It looks like we've got a good stack of typed papers there. This, proofread your paragraph. Like I say, your ability to catch these errors will improve as the semester progresses. Then this is where you are now. Bring it to class for the peer review. Participation in peer reviews is required. If you don't have if you didn't bring a paper today, you still have to have a review of it. So you need to come talk to me about how that is going to happen. Okay? Now, and it also remembering that we're going to, some of you may be turning this in online. You don't have to, but there is the option to turn it in online. So we need to talk a little about that. Okay, so if you get a paper back today from somebody you don't know, you know, you get a paper back and it says, Joe reviewed this paper, and you have no idea who Joe is. And Joe has changed a whole lot of stuff on your paper. Do you have to do everything Joe says? No. You need to, the answer here is, remember that we're working toward an academic conversation. The papers you will write, the major papers you will write in future classes that other people are going to read and want to comment on and want to argue with you about. And like I said, you need to support your argument, they need to support their argument. But if somebody is reading one of these papers and can't understand what you're saying, then something is wrong. Maybe, like we saw up here, the change they tell you to make is not what you meant. But you still need to look at that and say, okay, this reader had trouble understanding what I was saying. So I need to do something. I may not need to make the change that person says to make, because that's not what I meant. But maybe I need to do something to make that clearer to my readers, okay? So if you have a situation like that, you can, and you can't figure it out, you can ask the English Center, you can email me and ask me, you can post it online and I can look at it, okay? So there's ways to do this, but the point is, between now and next Tuesday, you will probably want to have at least one other review of your paper. Ideally, what I try to push this class toward by the end of the semester is that you are having the peer review, you are all having me review it, and you're all having the English Center review it. And you're kind of taking all that input and deciding what changes you want to make, okay? This is the writing process. And to do that, you have to have the paper ready ahead so that you have time to do all that stuff. Now this weekend, it always happens the first paper of the semester. This weekend, guess what? The English Center is closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So if you are going to have them review it, you need to either get down there with it this afternoon or early Tuesday. The best thing for you guys then at this point is emailing it to me for another review, okay? I do have office hours after this class if you want to come then and bring it, or email it to me, okay? You can either, and here's the thing that I think I may not have been totally clear about, because like I said, I'm new to this online stuff too, okay? I will set it up so that you can submit papers online this semester if you wish, okay? We will have to work together on how you will do this, all right? I just went in and looked at the two people have submitted papers already online, and what I'm finding is that I can make changes to the paper, but I don't see how to send that changed paper back to you. I think I may need to reset something in there. If that happens, if I can't do it, I will email you the paper back. There's also a place for me to make comments here, okay? This is what it looks like for me. These people turned it in. It says, 2 people did. It says submitted for grading. Then I can put some comments here, but I went ahead and edited this, and let's see, I don't think it is showing the one that I edited. No, see, that's just her draft. So what I did was I saved it out, and I will, oops. What I want to show you is...
Yeah, it's on like a PDF or something.
Oops, where did it go? This is so confusing. Okay. Nope, that's not the right one. Well, I saved all those changes. Maybe it is. Here it is. Okay. So let me make this bigger. So Sandra said that I could look at her paper to show you when you do send it to me, which I hope you do, the kind of things I will write. This is what it will look like when you get it back to me. If I can't send you back this file in MPC Online, there has to be a way to do that. I mean, that's the whole point, right? I think I just need to change the settings. I will email you this file, okay? So remember that the paper must look exactly like the sample. Remember this thing? So the spacing, and this is one of the things you guys are going to be looking for too. So this is partly to show you how it looks like online, and also to see the kind of things you're looking for. It's going to ask you to make sure the paper looks like the academic format, okay? Then here's my little notes, okay? Now, she might be, maybe I'm wrong here. I was doing this really fast. What does this mean where I say tense? Anyone knows what that means?
It means the time, the timing, like the time.
The what?
The time?
Yeah, it refers to, or have you done, it looks like, here's the problem. This verb, the very first verb, is in present tense. So she's saying we always do this, okay? So what I'm looking for is this, I should have put it here too. It sounds like you need that on, what's called the ongoing present. So I think she should be saying, we make a plan to have a party, we make a Valentine card, we make dinner. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying about tense. Now, Sandra can decide, no, I want this all in the past, and change it back to made.
Yeah, I was planning on, I meant like future, but I was
so
at the SSC center. They told me to change it to talk about the past, so I started to change it.
Okay, good. That is not good, but good because, I'm glad you said that, because that's what's going to happen. One person is going to tell you one thing and the other person is going to tell you something else. So the only thing you have to do, if you want it in the past, saying we did this, just do this. Make it clear that you're telling about something that already happened. Does Does that make sense? Then she's okay. Now, we understand from what she says up here that you're gonna do this again this year. But at this point, she's describing last year's Valentine's Day. Does that make sense? So this is a really good example. I didn't plan this, but this is a really good example of you have to make that decision, okay? If she is talking about the future, if she does want to say we did this before and we're going to do it again, then we want to change it. Oh, we do this every time. We make this every time, okay? So that's what that, and so we can take all these out. We can take all these out, okay? Here's another one, AWK. This is what you need your little list for. Awkward to express of our love each other, to express our love for each other. Okay, so I may give you a little suggestion here. So this is awkward, and that's on your correction list. It's really a definable grammar error. It's just awkward. Esmeralda and I made Valentine. What is that? What does PL mean? Plural, cards. So she needs cards there. Yeah, so these are not huge problems. These are just little editing things that you need to deal with. Down here, sure enough, Esmeralda and I totally like to have this fun date. That's slang. Take that out. Does that make sense? So this is what your paper will look like when you get it back. And I do formatting stuff, I do some grammar stuff, and then at the end, I will give you a little overall suggestion. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so thank you, Sandra, for letting us look at her paper as an example. And then
You're
Joanna
welcome.
sent one in too, but we'll because we don't have time enough. Both of them. Okay, so you're going to get your feedback from your person today, go to the English Center, send it to me, and then on Tuesday, what are you going to turn in? That's the question.
Draft.
You're going to turn in your
Homework?
final draft, and this is something that I have trouble with every semester. I get a paper and I grade it, and it's full of mistakes, and you know, I give it back to the person, and they say, oh, but the one I wanted you to grade was back here. And I say, well, you know, it was back at the back. I say, you've got to have the paper you want me to grade needs to be on the top. If you want me to grade another draft of it, put that on the top, you know. Okay? So what you're going to turn in is your worksheet. Okay? You're going to turn in your worksheet. You're going to turn in whatever the person gives you back today, and by the way, it all has to be stapled. I do not accept unstapled work. Okay, you have to have a stapler. I am going to give you 2 pieces of paper, and you'll have about 15 minutes to look at your person's paper and then give it back. You need to attach both of these things to what you turn in. Okay. So this is all on the assignment sheet. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Use this to check yourself. This is where we are now. Review your comments, ask the instructor or someone in the ESSC, make your final revision, prepare the typed version, put your title on, have it ready to turn in at the start of class on the due date with all of your backup work. This worksheet, all of your drafts, the completed peer review sheet, and the completed self-edit sheet. You won't get a grade if all that isn't attached.
Does everything have to be in pen other than the final?
The worksheet doesn't.
Okay.
And obviously your drafts don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just
you
curious,
do that.
the rough
Yeah,
drafts can be in
you do
pencil?
those in pencil, that's fine.
Okay,
But your
cool.
draft has to be titled.
Okay, cool.
Okay? Okay? If you want to submit this stuff online, this is where we get into uncharted territory. You notice what Sandra did was submit a couple of PDF things. So if she wants to make PDFs of these, that's fine. I'm gonna try to figure out a way where these can just, you can just fill these in online, but that doesn't really work because we're doing it sitting here, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But it could be that if you submit this online, you have your final paper and then a bunch of other stuff like this. That's what I was kind of expecting, okay, a bunch of other completed stuff. If you want to submit it online and you don't want to mess with that, just make sure you bring all this stuff. So if you bring just this stuff and set it down, I will count it as being in if you turn the paper in online. If you don't want to turn the paper in online, you don't want to mess with that, you don't want to. Okay, so like I said, this semester especially, this is our first kind of experiment stage for all this stuff, okay? And making sure everyone is doing this, all this stuff. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hand these out, and I'm gonna hand out this goldenrod sheet, okay? And you are gonna fill in, here's what it looks like. Your name, the writer's name. Here's what you need to be able to tell, and this is what we went over the other day. What's the topic? What is the writer describing? A hot fudge sundae. Okay, it should be as clear as that hot fudge sundae one. Does the writer start with a topic sentence? Okay, so you need to be looking at the paper and say, okay, this person is describing a week in Paradise. A week in Paradise. Is this a strong topic sentence? Does it have an argument? Is this argumentative? My vacation was the most beautiful place in the world. Yes, because somebody else could say, no, I don't think that's the most beautiful place. I think this is the most beautiful place. Okay? So remember that stuff we talked about the other day? Contains a dominant impression. What supporting details very quickly. You don't have to copy the whole thing over. Just say a luau, exploring the island, the water, the food, you know, show that you've picked out some things that the person is using to describe. I know you don't have very much time. We'll have more time later. Does the writer use at least 3 sensory details? So try to, the sound of the waves, okay? If it doesn't look like there are any sensory details, that's what I was saying about Sandra's. I asked her, I said, describe the food, tell us what it smells like, you know, tell us what it looks like, kind of, okay? Figurative language, see if you can do that. We didn't really talk a lot about that, so that one's not a 100%. Does the writer use the proper paragraph format? So again, you're looking for this. Usually it's a spacing issue. It's usually that people don't get, we'll talk about the paragraph spacing, okay? And do you see any grammar errors? Here's the thing about this. I know that you're not going to be able to go through it the way I do and mark every single grammar error. The best thing you can do there is if the grammar is keeping you from understanding what's going on, you can make a little note to the person and say something like, you might want to send this to Miss Penny. You might want to have the English Center help you with that. Don't be afraid to do that, okay? The self-edit sheet, I'm also going to turn out this. So this you're going to fill in and return to the person today. This you're going to fill out at home. It's the same thing, but you're just double checking it again on your own. Okay, so very quickly, I know we only have like 10 minutes or so, but see how you do with this. Usually, we're going to have more time. Now, I didn't get a chance to count these today, and see who's here. So if you didn't get a paper, okay, if you didn't turn in a paper, tell me, because you will not get a paper. What, you didn't turn it in? Okay. So those people who didn't turn one in,
I feel bad for the person that gets mine. It's like...
How many pages did you do?
I did.
okay, so I'm running out of paper.
No, I did too.
More than 11 slides?
not in the I didn't print it out. I just writing and writing.
What was your topic?
The man in the woods.
Okay, is there anyone who didn't get one?
It's interesting. But this one doesn't have color, right? Or title.
But did anyone turn a paper in and not get one back? Why do I have an extra paper? Okay,
I can snatch
go out in here.
Oh, that's why.
Okay.
Don't say anything.
Oh, a person left. That's what happened. Okay. What? Okay, so read the paper, start working. I'm gonna come around and kind of look over your shoulder and look at really obvious things, okay? One thing I see is that person has the.
Can we write on them? Yeah, I think so.
Just put this up here. So just write.
Miss Penny, can we write on the papers?
Yes, you can write right on that person's paper. This is what the paper needs to look like. So if it looks anything different from that. Okay, so the first thing Cynthia's gonna write on this sheet is where the question says, is it properly formatted? Cynthia's gonna say no, all right? It's not typed. Okay. Now, what? Somebody had a question. Who was just asking you a question? Okay, let me look here. Okay, so put your name and the writer's name. You should be able to tell the topic pretty obviously. Okay, now he needs to do that himself. People who didn't turn a paper in, what you need to do is you need to get this filled out by the English Center. Okay, you cannot have your cousin or your roommate or your neighbor do it. It has to be someone who's familiar with the assignments in this class. So you need to have this done. You really need to have the paper here for the peer review because you're going to get marked off if you don't have it. Okay, what? Wait a minute, I didn't put my hearing aids on. Let me hand this out. This is your other one. So people who didn't turn a paper in need to be sitting at their desk working on their paper.
She was just basically asking if this
Okay,
is due
use
Tuesday.
this time to work on your paper. And let me get back to it on the
No, I was just saying she was just asking if it's due Tuesday. You-
This is due on Tuesday. Yeah. So, now, Veronica, what did you say?
Yeah, that's what she-
I don't have my hearing.
She said if it was due on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't require the date, but if they have it on there, it's fine. Yeah, the only thing is if they don't, yeah, that's fine. It can be like that. We're gonna talk about that. Other teachers have more specific rules for that, but I don't have such a specific rule for the date on. Okay, I gave you guys. Okay, let me just, okay. Mostly what I'm looking for is a thesis statement that has an argument. Okay, yes. Okay, so she uses the card, the dinner, the dessert, the gifts, and the number. Yeah, so she's pretty clear in her detail. Okay, that looks, that they're arguing that the car is free. Okay, so this is, the only thing here is his first sentence is his complete sentence. So he needs to find out what your is like away. But yeah, I think he's got this. considered description. Okay, so this needs to go on because that was the birthday that I did this. So the answer to this is no. They need this, they add this experience to this. Yeah, maybe we could just do this. That might help, make that all do the same thing. Yeah, good, so your impulse was to put it together with the other side. Okay, yeah, I actually told her, I said, tell us what it tastes like, tell us what it smells like. Okay, yeah, so you could say yes, but you could use more. Yeah, it could use some more. Okay, and figurative language, since we didn't really get to that, don't worry too much about that. Okay, this is good, but the thing is, because she immediately tells me she's talking about painting, I think this is what I mean, that this painting takes me to an instance. Okay. I think the topic is the thinking, and the mystical place is the art, is part of the argument. Okay. Yeah, it's part of this. Yeah. So I think the topic there would be the painting. Okay. This yellow sheet, when you look at this yellow sheet, when you get home, you're going to find it has exactly the same questions as the sheet you're filling out right now, but I'm asking you to double check your own paper yourself and turn that back in. And we'll go over the